Family Credit Management is a non-profit credit counseling agency. We specialize in helping people take control of their debt.
People call in every day. By the end of the call, they're feeling better. They know there's some hope out there.
For over a decade, Family Credit Management has helped tens of thousands of Americans deal with the burden of debt.
If you're struggling with debt, the most important thing is to take control of it. Now's the time.
Family Credit.
Hey, good evening and welcome. We are back with another season, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. My name is Letitia Griffin, and I'm here just with Family Credit Management Services, here to answer any questions that you may have regarding debt, regarding finances, regarding your budget, regarding collections. There's just so many different topics that we can talk about. So I do want you to call in and feel free to ask any question that you may have. Now, over this time while we were apart, you may have had some other questions or some things that you've gone through as well when you're relating to your finances and debt. So feel free to call in at 312-738-1060 and just ask those questions. Now, I'm here for the next 30 minutes or so, so feel free to ask those questions. Now, if you do not get the opportunity to call and speak with me, you can also feel free to contact a certified counselor at Family Credit at 800-994-3328. Now, Family Credit's got some great credit counselors on standby that are there to answer any questions you may have. Now, I've got their website up there too. The web address at Family Credit is familycredit.org. The important thing about that, or why I think that is very important, is that those counselors, there are people that are there that care and that can help answer any questions that you have regarding finances. So feel free to reach out and just ask those questions. Now, one of the things that I do want to talk about though, and I've had a lot of people that are looking to purchase a home, that are looking to fix their credit and make things better, and so they have all types of questions about how to actually, what's the next step for them in preparing or repairing their credit. So we're going to get into that and talk about that a lot. And one of the things that I want you guys to avoid is just working with those credit uglies. A lot of people don't want to touch their credit because they think that it is bad. They think that things are happening on their credit report that they don't even want to look at. They think that it's the worst ever. But you know, dealing with your credit is not as bad as you think. And it only takes one step today to go ahead and get those things in order and to make things better for yourself. So I want to challenge you to look at your credit report and let's get started. Now, we've got those three bureaus that we always talk about, and I want you to keep those in mind. They're Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. When you're looking to get your credit report, it's always best to go directly to the source. And if you one of the things that I want you to do is looking at annualcreditreport.com. That report is still available. It's still out there where you can get the three bureaus from annualcreditreport.com for free 3 times a year. There's a lot of other tools that are out there too, but that one is still there, and not a lot of people are talking about that, and they're not utilizing it. So that's why I want to bring that up to you, because I want to make sure that you're still reaching out, looking at your score, still logging in and monitoring what it is that you're doing, and keeping that in mind. Now, the reports that you're looking at there, they're based on the information that the credit bureaus have for you, and that information just is updated by your creditors. One of the questions that I had not too long ago was, why, if there's if all of these creditors are looking at the same thing, why is my score so different with each one of them? So we'll talk about that in a sec, but right now it looks like we've got our first caller.
Oh,
Hi.
hello.
Welcome
Hi,
to the show.
how can I stop a wage garnishment?
Now, wage garnishments, that is something that a lot of people struggle with, but I want you to actually keep in mind that a lot of people don't know that there's 2 different types of what people call wage garnishments. There's the regular wage garnishment and a wage assignment. Now, when you're looking at a wage garnishment means that things have gone through the court system. That means that somebody has gotten summons, that you've received letters from attorneys, and that it's gone through the actual court system. the only way really to stop that, there's a couple of ways that you can stop a wage garnishment, but they both involve seeking legal advice. So that's the first thing that you want to do. If you've got a summons, if you've got something from the court system, you need to seek legal advice. And you can do that at any time by contacting an attorney. And keep in mind that you can talk to more than one to help you out of your situation. The other way for you to stop that wage garnishment is to go through bankruptcy proceedings. And we can talk about bankruptcy a little bit later on as well. And with bankruptcy, what happens is once you actually file bankruptcy, you are telling the courts, you're telling the judge, you're telling all of your creditors, I cannot afford to pay you. So if you're trying to garnish my wages and take money out of my paycheck, then I need you to stop. And the courts will make that a solid document. It's gone through the court system, and so those creditors have to abide by that stay. So once you've done that, the wage garnishments stop. Now, earlier, I did talk about a wage assignment, and this is a big difference when you're using a wage assignment. Wage assignments pretty much pop up when you're dealing with finance companies or payday loans or something like that. You know, some of the smaller furniture companies, they also use a wage assignment. And what a wage assignment says is that you're telling people when you get paid, and you're giving them your employer's information, and on top of that, you're giving them permission to contact your employer in the event that you do not pay them and take it directly from your paycheck. Now, that's a totally different process, and that most of the times when you're dealing with wage assignment is voluntary. And what that means is that you've given them permission to actually go in, contact your employer, and have that money withdrawn from your paycheck. Now, there's another side to that. Guess what? If you've given them permission to do that, you can give them permission to stop or tell them to stop, and they have to abide by it. Why? Because the permission you gave them in the first place was totally voluntary. So you can do a letter to the creditor or the lender, and just like you gave them permission to take the money out of your paycheck, you tell them to stop. You can tell them, I no longer give you permission to withdraw this money from my paycheck. And once they receive that notice, they have to stop. So just be sure, if you are looking at money that's coming out of your paycheck, you want to know the difference between a wage garnishment and a wage assignment. Keeping in mind, if it's gone through the court system, then yes, that is a full-fledged garnishment. And if it has not, if it's just some paperwork that you signed when you took out the loan, most likely that's an assignment, and you can have them stop. One other thing that I wanted to mention about the garnishments, of course, is that sometimes when you cannot afford the garnishment, they do give you a court date. They give you notice in time enough before the garnishment even takes place for you to go to court. If you go to court and you talk to the judge, you stand in front of the judge and let them know what's going on, why you can't afford to make those payments, and a lot of times that may work in your favor, and the judge will either work out arrangements that fit within your budget or something to that effect. But if you don't go and if you don't show up, the first thing that's going to happen is that you will get a judgment placed on your credit report, on your credit profile, and the judge will most likely side with the creditor, saying that it's okay for them to take your to debit your paycheck. And why is that? Because you weren't there to stand up for yourself. That's something that also affects your credit report too, and can make things ugly on it. Looks like we've got another caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, my question is if I have the same name as my mother, and sometimes we have some issues with stuff getting on her credit that's mine and vice versa. How do we avoid that happening, or how do we rectify that?
Okay. The best thing that you can do is to constantly look at your report. Make sure that you're following your report. Every time you get a new account, you want to make sure that it's updated correctly on your report. The quickest way for you to get that resolved is for you to actually dispute the accounts when you see something wrong on your credit report or on your mother's report. And that happens a lot. A lot of people don't even realize how often that happens with the credit bureau. Think about it. The credit bureau, they are keeping track of so much information for every individual. Not only just in the United States too, they've got global reach now. So they're keeping track of all this information, and of course the information can get messed up. So you want to make sure you're looking at your report all the time. You want to make sure that if you see something wrong, you dispute it. if so much as your address is wrong, you can change that by doing a dispute. So there's a lot of things that you can do on your own as long as you are staying in contact with the Bureau, paying attention to what's there, and then challenging anything wrong that you see. If you've got any questions, I do want you to contact the counselor at Family Credit at 800-994-3328. Looks like we've got another caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, I need to repair my credit, and someone suggested getting a secured credit card. What is that?
I'm glad you asked. A secured credit card is one of the best ways for you to repair your credit. Now, with a secured card, what you are actually doing is you're going to the credit card company and you are telling them that you need a credit card. You realize that you don't meet the regular qualifications, and a lot of times that's why a lot of people get secured cards. Either their credit score is too low so they can't get a regular credit card, their age doesn't quite meet the standards, or something to that effect. They may have just filed bankruptcy or something and they're looking for a resolve. So you will secure this credit card by putting down a deposit. Now, typically, whatever your deposit is that you put down, that will be your credit limit. So if you got an extra $300 and you sent that to the credit card company, the credit card company will use that $300 and make that your credit limit. Now, you will be paying on that account every single month, just like a regular credit card. So if you got a $300 credit limit and you use it like a credit card, most likely your payment will be somewhere between $20 and $40 a month. You want to make sure that it stays somewhere where you can afford it as well. And that gets reported to the credit bureau each and every single month. As long as you are making your payments on time, everything looks good. One of the things that I want you to pay attention to, though, is when you look at a secure card, you do want to make sure that they report to the credit bureau. There's a lot of different cards out there, and people think they're getting a secure credit card or a credit card in general, and it's not. It's really just a debit card or something like that, an online bank account. You want to make sure that what you get reports to the credit bureaus, and that's going to be the key to getting your secure card. Now, one of the things that I came across this week that I wanted to talk about is that there has been an increase in the amount of people that are actually paying people to fix their credit or doing a credit repair clinic. Those are some things that I want you to stay away from and be mindful of. Everything that we discuss here on this show, the tips that we share, the stories that we tell, that's meant for you to empower yourself and be able to improve your credit on your own with some help. Of course, you can always contact a certified counselor for help, and they will walk you through the steps of repairing your credit, strengthening your credit, getting your budget together, and that's done for free. Anytime you have to pay for a service, then I do challenge you to stay away from that. I had a family that paid lots of money out, and they did not receive anything. And what happened was they paid someone for credit repair. And remember, credit repair is illegal in Illinois, so keep that in mind too. They paid for that. And what happens is this company or whoever they work with, they go through and dispute everything on your credit report. The problem with that is every time you dispute something on your credit report, yes, it's not factored into your score, so it looks like it's not there if someone else was to pull your credit. But after that dispute is over, then either the item needs to be removed or updated. So there's a good chance that it's still there. And a lot of times what people are seeing is, yes, some items are coming off of their credit report once they're disputed, but a couple of months down the line, the items are reoccurring or popping back up, because guess what? By this time, the dispute has been submitted and someone has actually gone through and verified that, yes, this debt is legal. Disputes only work to correct inaccurate information. If there's problems reporting on your credit bureau report, that's what a dispute is for. Now, if you go through and you dispute everything on your credit report, what's happening is that those marks still will stay there even after things have been cleared up. If that account, if it's current, if it's right, even if it's a bad account, but it's right and it's supposed to be there because it's your debt and you need to pay it, that account will forever say that it was disputed on your credit report. And that can cause your report to look less than credible as well. So you don't want to be in that position. You only want to dispute items that you know for certain are wrong. It could be that the balance is off. That's a great dispute. It could be that it is your account, but some charges weren't taken into account or you were overcharged. So that's something that you can also dispute. You can dispute whether the debt is yours. So there are legal disputes out there. I just don't like to see people disputing all the accounts on their report for no reason at all, because that does cause some blemishes on your report. Looks like we've got another caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hello, I just have a question. I have some old collection accounts. They're about 5 years old and they've been calling me a lot recently. I was just wondering if I still need to pay them.
Okay. Now, have you received any letters from them?
Yes, through the mail.
Okay, so you're still getting letters. And have you noticed on those letters that they've changed from time to time? Different people are sending them to you about the same account?
Yeah, they're switching different agencies, it looks like.
Okay. So a lot of people go through that. And if you've got old accounts, you actually need to look at when those accounts were actually taken out, when they went bad. And a lot of times on your report, you can look on your report and it's called the date of, you can look under the date of last activity or the date of delinquency. Different bureaus report it differently. So you do want to look at that and pay attention to it. When you're thinking about your credit score, even though your report follows you for years, your score actually only takes into account the last 24 months worth of history. So if you are looking at cleaning up your report, you're looking at the collections that you have on your report, you want to make sure that you pay attention to the most recent collections accounts. Anything over that, it's up to you whether you want to pay or not, but it's really not affecting your score like that. Now, if you, let's say you do decide to pay them off though, you want to think about getting some positive accounts to counteract all the negatives that are there. So if you're going to pay that account off, then you want to have a positive account there. So you want to look into some other ideas as far as looking at different trades or credit cards or secured credit card offers that may be available to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Those are some really great questions, and I appreciate you all calling in to ask those questions. So feel free, we've got a few more minutes. If you've got some other questions you want to call in and talk about your credit, feel free to do so. When you're looking at your report, like over the next few weeks, we'll probably take the credit report, dissect it, and look at some different scenarios on that that will help you improve and maintain your credit. Like I said, a lot of people out there, they don't know where to start. So that's why we're here, to actually help you get started with trying to manage your finances better on your own. Now, again, we were talking about the collection account, so let's touch on that. The young lady stated that she's got some letters from different collectors. And what happens is when an account goes into a collections, it is sent to a collection agency, but that collection agency only has so much time to collect on that debt. And that's why sometimes you may see those debts popping around from different agencies, and you'll get a letter maybe every 6 months or so from someone different. Sometimes you'll even get 2 letters at one time from different agencies, and those are some things that you want to watch out for as well and take that into account. Looks like we've got another caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, my husband and my son have the same name, and my son cashed a personal loan, and it's on my husband's credit report, and we disputed it, but it came back that it's my husband.
Okay. And it came back. So did he actually get the money from the loan?
My son did.
Okay, but not your husband, right?
Right.
But it's on your husband's report.
Right.
Okay. And sometimes when things get crossed like that, a lot of times the creditors may come after your husband for that debt or think that he's responsible for it because they don't know that it's someone else. So the first thing that you want to do is dispute it with the credit bureaus first to make them aware. Now, you may need to go one step further and dispute that with the original creditor too. Now, a lot of times people will think that just because they've called a creditor, that's them disputing it. But it's always best to go a step further, even if you call them, But it's better to put it in writing when you're disputing anything to a creditor. And once you do that, you're going to be sending them notice. So when you send that notice to the creditor, you should put in that notice how you want the creditor to respond to you. Sometimes not all the creditors will respond to an inquiry because the consumer hasn't put it in there, please give me a call at this number, or respond back to me by letter at. So you want to make sure that you put those details in that dispute and send them to the credit bureaus and to the creditor to get that cleared up. It's an easy fix, but it does take some time from you to actually do that. Looks like we've got another caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, I just had a question. What would be the best place to get my credit report?
Well, the best place for you to get your credit report, actually, I would say that you can go to the credit bureaus directly, but we're talking about 3 bureaus here, 3 different places that you need to go to: Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. So the depository for you to go to one place to get all 3 reports is annualcreditreport.com. Make sure you do that. Go to annualcreditreport.com. You will need to create a login, and it should be something that you can remember because you need to be going back to that website at least 3 times a year. So every year you should be logging in, checking your credit report, and looking to see what's on your report and seeing if there are any changes, or just noticing if there's anything that you probably even didn't pay attention to before. You can look at your identifying information and make sure that's correct. You can also add a consumer disclosure statement directly with the credit bureaus too. And sometimes that's helpful when you're going through a situation and you want to explain certain things or certain aspects that are on your report as to why it is the way it is. We'll talk about that as the season continues as well. But the best place for you to go is annualcreditreport.com. There's a lot of places out that offer a free credit report, so you want to make sure that when they say free credit report, that it's really free. And another thing that a lot of people may not realize is that when you're going to a different place to get a credit report, other than to the credit bureaus themselves, other than to annualcreditreport.com, a lot of times that information that you're getting is old because they are a reseller of that report. That means that they're not giving you a first-hand report. So you want to make sure that you're not paying for it and that it really is free. There's no recurring charges or anything like that. So there are some tools out there that will help you monitor your credit and your credit score. Do want you to take advantage of those, but the best place for you to go is annualcreditreport.com. So there are some other tools that a lot of people come across. You don't want to look at anything that will charge you a monthly charge, because you can get that information for free. You can also contact a credit counselor and they can go over your report with you. So let's say you're having problems understanding what's on it or even accessing it. They can go over everything with you over the phone or even by chat. So those are some good resources for you to use when you're looking at making your report better and stronger. There's a lot of different tools out there, but I want you to be aware, make sure you're not being taken advantage of. Don't pay for services that you can get for free. No one should actually be charging you to help with your credit. No one should be charging you anything for monitoring your credit as well. So be careful, and if you've got any questions, you can contact a certified counselor at Family Credit and just ask any questions that you may have. They can walk you through the steps of looking at your report, how to pull your report, and help you with that as well. So if you've got any other questions, you can feel free to call in. We'll be back next week with another show. We'll be talking some more about credit and just looking at those credit uglies. So if you've got any types of collections, past due notices, anything that you need help with, feel free to tune in next week and we can go over those and talk about all of those. Again, reach out to Family Credit, contact a certified counselor, go online and chat with a counselor at familycredit.org, because that is where you get help. There's resources available. Want you to be able to take advantage of it and not be taken advantage of. So until next week, we will see you then. Have a good evening.